Hello everyone, I am Mitali Chauhan and I am currently in fourth year pursuing my integrated MTech in Geophysical Technology from IIT Roorkee. Today I am here to present the seminar on the use of Receiver Operating Characteristic Test, that is ROC test, for evaluating spatial earthquake forecasts by Tom Parsons. This paper was published in Geophysical Research Letter in July 2020. So let's start our discussion with ROC curve. An ROC curve is a graphical plot that illustrates the diagnostic ability of a binary classifier system. The test is binary, in which a prediction is made and then it is compared against the observation. Now there are four possible outcomes: true positive when prediction and observation are both positive, false positive when prediction is positive but observation is negative, false negative when prediction is negative and observation is positive, and then finally true negative when both prediction and observations are negative. Now from these values, ROC curves are created. These are created by plotting false positive rate against the true positive rate. Now false positive rate is calculated using this equation, and it means how many incorrect positive results are present among all negative samples. True positive rate is defined by this equation, and it means how many correct positive results are present among all positive samples. For this ROC curve, the cutoff threshold are defined by the stress change values, where stress values are first arranged in ascending order and then each stress value is used as a cutoff to calculate true and false positive rate. Now there is a test with random classification of data that has equal rate of true positive and false positive, which is known as random model, and this is a straight line or ROC curve. For such cases, area under the curve is 0.5. Now the extent that a model is better than this random model is assessed by how much the area exceeds 0.5. Now the ROC test has been used for ranking different methods for predicting the spatial earthquakes. These tests are motivated by finding improvement to the primary physics-based model of earthquake triggering, that is Coulomb stress change. The basic idea here is that displacement in the elastic upper crust produces a stress perturbation which can be resolved into shear and normal component on receiver faults. There is an increase in shear stress in slip direction and a decrease in normal stress. By inspection, we can see that most aftershocks occur in the area of stress increment. In this paper, two 2D models of stress change are developed for the purpose of identifying which characteristic the ROC tests are more sensitive to. The first one is a Coulomb model that forecasts area of aftershock where stress are positive, that is these red zones, and no aftershock where the stress change are negative, that is these blue lobes. This model is made a perfect forecast because a synthetic aftershock catalog is superposed that only has events in this red zone. These black squares show areas populated by aftershocks drawn from a distribution centered at the hypocenter, and aftershock probability failing as a function of distance d raised to the power minus 3. This panel represents perfect Coulomb spatial forecast. Now the second one is the reference model, which is essentially informationless. It has increased stress everywhere with stress magnitude falling off as a function of distance from the main shock hypocenter. The reference model stress change values are also proportional to t raised to the power minus 3 for consistency with synthetic aftershock catalog. Now the ROC curves are created. The curves are built by stepping from the smallest to the largest stress change values in each model. The red one represents Coulomb forecast model and the blue one is reference model. In this case, the Coulomb stress change barely outperforms the reference model with 95% confidence bound on the area under the curve values. But the perfect forecast like that does not happen in the real world. There are multiple factors that contribute to making a Coulomb forecast imperfect. This is an example of a real Coulomb earthquake forecast after a 7.5 magnitude Kashmir earthquake in 2005. Here the green circle shows the events in the stress increased area, but there are also these blue circles which are events in the shadow zones. So this is an example of a real Coulomb earthquake. The sensitivity of the area under the curve values is then tested by adding events at random cell location within the calculated stress shadow, that is these blue zones. Now the area under the curve values are calculated for both the formally perfect Coulomb model and the reference model. Each time an aftershock is added to the shadow areas. So from these values, the values in this table, we can see that after adding just 4 events to shadow areas, the confidence bound of the Coulomb and reference model overlap. This occurs because area under the curve values for the Coulomb models decreases while whereas the reference model value increases with the addition of shadow events. The result is that an information-less all positive stress change model like the reference model used here is shown to fare better under the ROC test than any Coulomb spatial aftershock forecast unless it is nearly perfect. We can also conclude that ROC test is not an effective test for judging the efficacy of Coulomb method against the forecast of a different class. Here different class means no negative class. We can also say that ROC test also suffers from the data imbalance when applied to the earthquake forecast because there are more negative cases than positive. Thus, in this case, a precision recall, that is a PRC test, which evaluate fraction of total positive among positive production rather than total number, is recommended. Thus, we can say that regardless of the efficacy of ROC test, the failure of a Coulomb stress change map draw attention to the difficulties associated with their use in operational earthquake forecast. Thank you.